So today we've introduced the new duo topology within the Atlas range, and we're introducing that primarily into our Aspire level of products.
That's
so
right.
We've got 3 levels within the Atlas range. We've got Upgrade, Aspire and High End, and Duo is initially going into the Aspire range. And within the Aspire level, we've got 2 ranges of products.
That's right.
Hyper and Ailsa.
Yeah.
So can you go into those products? I believe we've got 5 new products coming out within that category.
Yeah, hopefully I can make it as simple, as easy as possible. so if we talk about Ailsa first, we're going to launch very, very soon 3 new products within the Ailsa range. So we've got the Ailsa Duo Ultra Latic Grun. It's a bit of a mouthful. It's an RCA. This is a product here. In terms of, if we explain this just by looking at the 5 essential elements which apply to this product, the conductor is OCC copper,
Okay.
again a preferred material of Atlas. The dielectric here is a foamed polyethylene, wideband dielectric, so that gives us the root fundamental high fidelity product. The plug is the latest ultra latic plug. So within the plug here, we've got the 3D printed latic plug, and then the controlled metal part on the outside, and of course crimp connected conductor to pin. So in the pin of the plug here, we've got an OCC copper pin, and then the conductor's OCC copper. So again, pin to conductor, identical, all one material. As you mentioned, the screening or the topology for this is, and that's the focus of it, is the new duo technology, and effectively that you can see that easily by, you can see that within the cable itself, the plus and minus are 2 separate screened conductors, and the extra the twisting arrangement is to give it a little bit more electromagnetic rejection you can get with a twisted paired cable. Okay. So extra in there. And of course, in terms of the 5th essential element, the manufacturing, all done, all hand built, all hand crimped here in Kilmarnock. So very, very simple, straightforward 5 essential elements. The other products in the range are the Ailsa Duo OCC XLR. Now, just so that people understand, it's exactly the same conductor and exactly the same dielectric, okay, right? Except this time terminated in Atlas's unique OCC copper XLR plugs. So the hot, the cold and the screen, all OCC pins, all crimped to OCC connectors.
So we've talked about Ailsa, which sits at the slightly the higher end in our Aspire level, yep, and we also have Hyper as well. So we've got 2 new products coming from Hyper.
Yep.
Could you talk, first of all, could you give us an overview, as you've done with Ailsa, for Hyper, and then also maybe go into the differences between the 2 of them, okay, so we can understand where, yep, they sit in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah. Again, we're introducing the Duo technology into the Hyper level, and we will introduce it in the XLR version. Hyper, we have a product in the range at the moment, Hyper Achromatic X, and that is it's our top performing coaxial cable, and that product would change. Okay. We're going to keep this. So the changes to the Hyper range will be focused on the XLR. So if I go back through the essential elements for the Hyper, then the conductor is an OCC copper cable, again preferred conductor. The dielectric is a foamed polyethylene, again very similar to the Ailsa plug. At this time it's very subtle because it looks cosmetically the same, but it's a different plug with a different dielectric in the XLR plug. Okay. Whereas it's PTFE in the Ailsa, we use a nylon dielectric within the plug. So again, a subtle difference in the plug. So if you looked at the plugs between Ailsa and Hyper, you think physically they're the same, but if you look carefully at the different colour at the end, it's a different dielectric gives a different performance.
Okay.
Right. Again, crimp fitted, crimp connected, terms of topology, and of course, you can see quite easily each individual, the hot and the cold, being a separate screened cable. So the hyper is this. We believe this is a quite a major upgrade on the existing hyper. The existing hyper was a multi-core design, so this product, because the hot and cold are completely isolated, gives a it's quite again a dramatic improvement over the previous hyper XLR. Right? Generally speaking, one of the other things we just talked about, and it's a subtlety, it goes back to the cable topology between. There is a it's not a trend. It's just it's a known process. The reality is, the fewer the individual strands in a conductor, really, the better. All right, and that's
why is that?
Well, you get various things. You get things called interstrand distortion. You get, which is electrical, because of the electrical proximity of different conductors next to each other. The variability, the number of strands and how they're twisted together. So if you've just got one big solid, it's easier to, in terms of design, to design with it. The trouble is it's very inflexible and sometimes impractical.
Okay.
So, but the trend, generally speaking, is that fewer strands in a conductor gives you the potential for better performance. And the difference between hyper and Ailsa, a lot of the cases, is that the hyper is a purely stranded design, very similar to our previous technology, whereas the Ailsa is a lot fewer. So there's less fundamental distortion in the individual conductors within the cable itself. So stranded to solid might be one place where you could articulate one kind of major difference between hyper and Ailsa.